as I started going through it and researching everybody, one guy stood out in particular, other than me, and that was Grange Alves. He was born in Aberdeen, Scotland in 1885 on February 1st, and he began playing at an early age. His father was in the golf business as well. His father constructed golf clubs when they were still made of wood. He rapidly progressed in his playing in his early years and began vying for many of the amateur championships over in Aberdeen. In 1905, he won the Aberdeen City Championship, amateur championship, and after that, he soon began looking towards America as a golfing future. A short time later, he said goodbye to his family and his friends, and he booked passage for America. After many inquiries, he heard of a job opening for a golf professional at French Lick Springs, Indiana. He applied and was hired by Mr. Tom Haggard, the millionaire owner of the golf course. Both as a teacher and as a player, Alves became known throughout the Midwest. It was during his years as a pro at French Lick that Sandy, his nickname Sandy, became interested in the golf course side of the business. Not only is he in the golf professional side, now he's starting to look at the superintendent side of the business as well. He spent as much time as he could spare with the superintendent at the facility to learn as much as he could. While he was at French Lick, there was a large flood that flooded the golf course, and the golf course required to have some maintenance and some redesign done on it. He spearheaded the redesigning of several holes and used a lot of his influence from Scotland in redesigning those holes. Impressed with his work, a gentleman and friend of his by the name of Donald Ross recommended Grange Alves to a group of men who were looking to construct a golf course in Shaker Heights, Ohio. So we bring him from Scotland to Indiana and now to Ohio. He and Ross agreed on a plan, and Alves supervised the construction of the course itself. It is known today as Shaker Heights Country Club. It was opened for play on July 4th, 1915, and Sandy became the first club professional. After spending some time there in 1922, he was approached by a Masonic group, which he was also a Mason, to build an 18-hole course in Lyndhurst, Ohio. Again, he and Donald Ross worked out the plans for the layout, and Alves supervised the construction. In my time at Acacia, there was a lot of back and forth about whether or not Donald Ross was ever on the property. If you go to the Tufts Archives in Pinehurst, you'll see that some of the golf courses that are attributed to Donald Ross state that he was not on the property, but Acacia was. He was on the property. After the 18-hole golf course was ready for play on July 4th, 1924, July 4th, a big day, for both Shaker Heights and Acacia, and it was known as Acacia Country Club. Alves was hired as the first golf professional at Acacia, as well as supervising all the improvements and maintenance of the golf course. He was the superintendent and golf professional at the same time. Alves and Acacia were synonymous. At one time, he served as club manager for the entire club as well. It was said that he knew every blade of grass in the layout, as well as the whims of every member. Acacia originally was to have 2 more 18-hole golf courses built, and the little thing that called the Depression ended that. So Acacia could have been a 54-hole facility if the Depression had not come along. In addition, he helped to design and construct the following golf courses from 1924 to 1930. In 1924, he constructed Ridgewood Country Club in Parma. 1925, the 18 holes at Twin Lakes Country Club. 1925, the 9-hole course called Lyndhurst Golf Club was no longer there. 1926, 18 holes called the Madison Golf Lakelands. We all know it now as Madison Country Club. In 1927, he redesigned 5 holes at Oakwood Country Club. In 27, he also designed 18 holes of the Highland Park Municipal Golf Course. 1928, 18 holes at the East Liverpool Country Club. 1928, 18 holes in Highland Meadows Country Club. 1929, he redesigned 6 holes at Sylvania Country Club. So he moved over to Toledo area for a little while. 1929, 9 holes of the University Heights Golf Club. 1929, 9 holes of the Meadowlands Golf Club. And in 1930, 9 holes of the Middle Bass Island Golf Club. Alves was also highly regarded as an instructor and continued to be a very good player. Sandy won the Ohio Open 3 times, 1915, 1922, and 1925. 1922 and 1925 were at Inverness. He also played in the inaugural PGA Senior Championship at Augusta National in 1937. In the late 1920s, Alves served as vice president of the National Greenkeepers Association, and at about the same time, we're going back, we don't have records for exactly the time that he was, but he was also, in the same time period, vice president of the National Golf Professional Association. So he held both the vice president offices possibly at the same time on a national level. During the early 1930s, he also served as the president of the local Cleveland chapter for the PGA for 3 years. At that time, Ohio was one big section and Cleveland had a chapter. His health failed in 1938, and on June 2nd, 1939, Grange Alves passed away at the age of 54. He was still the golf professional at Acacia Country Club at the time of his death, and he was the president of the Ohio section, the entire section of the state of Ohio. I was sitting at lunch and I was talking to Mike a little bit. It just kind of dawned on me, 1939, if my math's right, 75 years. He's been gone 75 years now, so it's kind of a fitting number to have him inducted, I think. In closing, I'd like to read a few excerpts of his obituary. I think this sums him up. In addition to a host of sorrowing friends, Grange leaves a good many more permanent monuments behind him. The Shaker Club, the Acacia Course, the great new 18 at Highland Park, the miracle of University Heights, where he packed 9 excellent holes into an unbeatable small tract, Twin Lakes, and a half dozen other courses. The Ohio State Professional Golfers Association loses a president who made the section one of the best for the non-tournament pro. The district loses a powerful figure. Acacia members have lost a darn good professional. All of us have lost a friend. When match play in the Pub Links Championship began at Highland yesterday, on the new 18 that Grange designed, the players gathered at the first tee and stood in silent tribute for 1 minute. They didn't need any urging either. It is my pleasure and distinct honor to present Grange Alves for induction into the Northern Ohio PGA Hall of Fame.